All right, hello everybody.
Hello.
Nice to see you all. Thank you for not leaving me hanging there. So my name is Lanika, and it is my absolute privilege to be hosting Tara's book launch. We are all here today to celebrate the stunning Tara Sidhoo Fraser and the gorgeous book she's written. Oh my goodness. So this time of year, the ghosts are restless, and tonight we're going to be letting go of some of our own ghosts. If you want to participate, Chris is going to be handing out some pencils and slips of paper, and we're going to use these tools to name the ghosts that are haunting us. So this could be an old version of ourselves that we want to let go of. This could be an ex. It could be a bad habit. So we invite you to write down your ghost on the slip of paper, and later this evening we will banish those ghosts together. In a minute, you'll hear from Nevin, who will welcome us into the Massy art space and kick this off in a good way. After that, I'll read a poem and we'll take some time to name our ghosts. Then Tara will treat us to a reading from her glittering memoir. And after that, we will banish our ghosts and reward ourselves with samosas and selfies and book signing. So to get us started, I'm going to hand it over to Nevin from Massy Art.
Hi folks, how are we all doing? Has anyone been here before? Two, well, three, four. Beautiful. Welcome back for those of you that are coming back, and welcome to the space for those of you that are new. As said before, my name is Nevin. I'm one of the event hosts here at Massy Arts. For those of you that aren't familiar with our organization, we are a nonprofit arts space and society that aims to uplift, the wording is underrepresented, over-excluded, and Indigenous artists and creatives. So I've been trying to think about what that actually means when we say that. I often say that we are here to make space for your grief, your joy, and everything in between, and hopefully you can hold that space together. So one of my main jobs is to acknowledge the land that we're on. It's such a privilege to be able to do this work consistently, this little work. I actually really think about what it means to acknowledge land in front of a group of people that you're hoping to be in community with. And one thing that I really have been reminded time and again is that this isn't a performance, what I'm doing, that it's meaningfully what I'm trying to do is set the tone or the boundaries of the space that we're in, and kind of uphold some community values. So for those of you who don't know, we are on the unceded, occupied, stolen, and ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. And I don't want to say that I only like to acknowledge that, I am responsible to acknowledge that. And within that acknowledgement is a lot of commitment. What I'm hoping tonight is that this acknowledgement that I'm delivering now is not a footnote to our evening. It's something that you have in presence of mind the entire time you're here, whenever you are occupying these spaces. And hopefully we can learn how to be in good relationship with that acknowledgement. So a little bit of history. We are actually just steps, well, I don't want to say history, a little bit of current goings on that are often unacknowledged by settlers. We are in Kemkamalai, which is an ancestral maple harvesting village called the Place of Many Maple Trees. That is the Squamish language that I'm speaking when I say that word. I don't have the authority to speak on it further than that, but I do encourage you to look more into that space if you have access to relationships that might be able to teach you that history in a more meaningful way. I encourage you to build those relationships. I encourage you to do your own research on both this space that we're in tonight and the spaces that you are occupying if you're not familiar and you don't have those relationships yet. Now, I can only speak to this space as I am in relationship with it. So I am a settler and a relative of the Métis, the Red River Métis through my mother's side. That is a connection I'm still working through and unpacking and reconnecting with. But ultimately on this land I am a settler. And that's a really weird position to be in because I'm not being asked to leave, but I am occupying space as a Canadian citizen as well under an illegal occupation. So when at Massy Art Society, which is an Indigenous owned and led space, we like to say we're committed to land-back-based futures. Does anyone know what land-back means? 1, 2, yeah. It's a dialogue that we have a lot in some spaces, but not a lot in others. So in recognizing that we're occupying this space, people that are committed to land-back-based futures envision and are working towards a future where the Indigenous people, so Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people in this case, have sovereignty over their land in the full meaning of that word. And that we allow, not only allow, people who are committed to land-back-based futures that aren't Indigenous are working to earn the term accomplice. So I don't want to just be an ally to Indigenous folks, I want to be an accomplice in them getting their land back and having that full sovereignty over it. And so tonight, in this space, that is the future that we are hoping to work towards. Now, whenever you step into Massy Arts, that can be like a complicated, heavy thing that we could, talk on about all night. And I'm sorry I'm taking a little bit too much of your time because this is a beautiful event, but I think it's really, really necessary to talk about the spaces that we're in when we're forming community. Your good relationships, your mindfulness is a little bit a part of that land-back-based future. And let's imagine beautiful futures together and work towards those kinder and more just relationships. I also want to acknowledge that we're in the downtown east side, and we're also in Chinatown. In the downtown east side, some of our neighbors have been experiencing marginalization and colonization in really intimate ways. I ask that you, if you are a guest in this neighborhood, especially, to be really mindful of what that means and to be as kind and as gentle as possible. And we are also in Chinatown. We're also in the building that was once Ming Wo. Did anyone visit Ming Wo when it was here?
Yes.
Yeah, super familiar. Lots of people know Ming Wo. These floors, I've been saying, have seen a lot of feet. This was originally a culinary store, and prior to that, actually, Ming Wo was a hardware store. I recently learned during another event that it was a hardware store that had been in operation for 117 years and supplied the Chinatown community with all sorts of vital building supplies. And so yeah, that also resonates in here tonight. So with all of that history that we're standing on and all of that current relationships that we're standing on, again, let's try and conduct ourselves in that way tonight. Thank you so much for listening. 2 other notes of tonight. We do have a single stalled washroom. It unfortunately does not have a push button, but it does have a handrail if you need help getting down that way. If you need help entering or leaving the washroom, feel free to let any one of us know. I'm sure there's a lot of community members here tonight that will help you, but I will be here at the back and some of my coworker desks, and we're very much prepared to help. So please don't worry, don't feel awkward. It is a totally normal thing to do. Secondly, as I've been saying before, we are in the downtown east side. This is not the only place where naloxone is needed, but you will see naloxone very visible in our neighborhood. I have naloxone on me, and I'm prepared to and trained to administer. If any of you folks need that life-saving drug tonight, or if you encounter anyone who needs that life-saving drug tonight, and you don't otherwise have access, not to say that I'm a last resort, but sometimes there's more convenient, feel free to come back. Feel free to ask me. I'm here to help. Basically, I'm here to set the boundaries and make this space as safe as I possibly can. I will be at the back if you need me. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If I've forgotten anything else, if there's anything you think I should add, if you have any questions, we also have a feedback form, and we also have a link to it at the front desk. So yeah, with that, thank you for listening. I hope you have a lovely evening, and enjoy letting go of your ghosts.
Rustling as we got our pieces of paper ready throughout that. Thank you to the Massy Art Society for hosting us tonight. Tara asked me to read poetry at this event, and I was incredibly flattered and intimidated because if you've read Tara's book, she's an amazing poet. The language in that book is just like, wow, so beautiful. But to take this opportunity Tara gave me to read one of my silly little poems, I've selected one that I think fits with the theme within that book of finding home in your body. So this poem is titled, "He is Inside of Me Like a House." Slipped in with an unexpected kiss, I can tell his mama raised him right by the gifts he brought. He's clomping past my foyer with his shoes on, but who am I to judge a guest? Some white families are like that. It's too late to ask him to remove them. He's too far in and I don't want to be rude. I spy the mud he's streaked across the rugs from which I lovingly rake dog hair. He and my lonely oven give each other googly eyes, but my companions, the toaster and the kettle, keep watch. We see right through his bravado. I think beneath it is a soft heart. I linger at my kitchen sink that gleams, stainless, steel like a mother who cleaned toilets for a living. Looking into the bowl of a spoon, I watch his distorted reflection behind me, casing the joint. I offer him a drink from the tap, and oh, he drinks. Greedily, cup after cup, he lays me down on the couch. His lap is generous as a chair and a half. Afterwards, he smokes on the patio where I seek fresh air. We have the train whistles in common, but he's never heard the chorus of frogs. Their flat notes pain him, and I feel shame at the way I treated my cedar porch like it was a box seat at the opera. So far, we have kept to the safety of my rib cage, the entry level, where all of my straightforward organs work reliably. He tells me he is not afraid of my depths. He's ready for an adventure. But he does not seem aware of the tiny nails on my squished toes, my split ends, my extremities. He is in me like a house, but I have satellite discs and garden beds that slope down to the ravine. Shall we go upstairs? I am wary as I follow him up my throat's janky rungs to my crooked brain. He grins at my childhood bed, hung with tulle, and yanks that veil into his fists. When I finally banished him, the spell was quick work, as clear as I could speak it against his spit. Sometimes I still find him inside of me, phantom boot prints up the back stairs, a forgotten box tucked into the attic that I fear will slide between supportive beams, poking a sharp corner into soft plaster, breaking through the ceiling of my office, looming above my head, bowed over a computer. When it's past 2 a.m. and I wonder, who the fuck lives here? I worry he has come to make his home, leaving tea to steep bitter and cold on the counter. He bounced hundreds of pebbles against the sill, threw a few bricks down the chimney, but for the most part, my hearth has held her wards. My house is 5 feet 5 inches and I never weigh it, but I grow lemon balm and lavender in the parted rows between my braids. I rub oil into the wood and stretch out on the floors. My house is bathed in robin calls and frog song, and I don't fear the friendly whistle of a train. There is a new man, an old friend, contentedly tucked himself into the ridged nail bed of my pinky finger. I made him a nest in my hair, gave him a ring of keys. This one opens the basement door, the garden's gate. The tiny one either fits the car top carrier or the fire safe where our passports share a bed. The keys jangle deep in his pocket, sounding like the knock of someone who knows it's unlocked, but values an invitation. Thank you. Her memoir, When My Ghost Sings, is a lyrical and queer exploration of healing and finding home in your body. For those of you who haven't read this beautiful book yet, the book features Tara, the narrator, and her ghost, which is the poetic narrative device Tara uses for the person she was before her stroke. This book is a farewell letter and a reclamation of selfhood. Please give up some love for Tara!
Hear me okay with my mask on?
Yeah.
Yeah? So this chapter that I'm going to read from, all of the chapters are quite short, is chapter 18, and it's when me and My previous partner from the past, before my stroke occurred, have met up again, and we are conversing. As Lanika said, there are two characters in this book. There's the woman before the stroke, who I've titled Ghost, and then there's me in the present day. We are statues on the boys' porch as the sun begins to dip its round belly behind the mountains. Is it almost 5 o'clock? I'm asking the mountains. I'm asking the pine trees. Yeah, I can give you a ride back to the hotel if you like. He is telling the ashtray. He is telling his name. I'm sorry, I whisper, as we both float towards the clouds. A dog is barking from somewhere below. For what, he asks. Just everything. Ghost stirs. Her legs are stretching, pushing against my ribs, my sternum, her ballerina toes curling around the softest parts of my throat, until she has filled every fissure. With one swift kick, she knocks my chin hard, again, until my lower lip quivers beneath her weight. I feel better now, I lie, allowing the mountains to sharpen into focus. I know it was difficult for you as well. Your poor brain. He clears his throat, swings his hand over his knee and pats down, his fingers drumming along to a secret tune. Can I ask you something, he says, his fingers pausing for a second. Do you remember anything? Ghost lands one final kick and pauses, allows a stream of air to slip into my lungs, allows for some space for his words to trickle down. Everything before I woke up is like one long dream. Some pieces are missing or disconnected. Sometimes I can't connect the parts, or the way I remember things is different. Yeah, it makes sense. I like when you tell me stories. It helps. And Ghost nods, because she likes this as well. Yeah, well, my memory's shit, especially during that time, so I don't know how much help I can be, the boy says, laughing. And Ghost tickles my heart until I smile as well. You have such a stunning view. Congratulations on your place, I whisper, as Ghost begins to wail again. Yeah, thanks. Is it beautiful at night? You know what I remember most, the boy says to the trees in the distance? No, your laugh. I don't laugh the same anymore? I wouldn't know, he says. I'm unsure of what to say, so we sit in silence, and he warns her. I fall into the teal-blue mountains and listen to the wind. I wait for him to say something else, to end this uncomfortable wake, but he's still. So we listen to the dog barking, and the wind, and Ghost wails. And now we are different statues on his porch, and the sun has spread herself across the sky until all that remains are wispy streaks of pink. We should probably go now, he tells the mountains, he tells the pine trees. The boy's truck is familiar. It smells of oranges, mustiness, and nicotine. The seats are thick and well padded, built for those who drive for long hours. You have the address? My phone's a bloody piece of shit. Can't connect it to my truck, he laughs. It's right by the inner harbor, just across the street. Wow, fancy, he says, and his truck growls to life and lurches forward. Then it speeds over the roads until the homes blur, the people blur, and all the trees leave small traces of themselves behind, staining the image, a furious mesh of color and movement. And meanwhile, I'm sitting in his passenger seat, the same seat Ghost once did, but everything's different now. And even though it seems strange that time has passed, I graduated, that's why I'm here on the island. Yeah, I know you told me already. On the drive back from the hospital, I sit in his truck. The once familiar scent of oranges dressed in smoke is now hidden under a metallic taste, whose sharp edges cut my nostrils, stinging the edge of my tongue. It smells, I whisper. Yeah, that's you, the boy laughs. We could smell you when they were wheeling you down the hall. I had no idea what it was. Even your mom. The boy stops talking. The trees swim by. Why do I smell like this? The boy rolls down the window, and fresh air blasts into the truck. I think it's from the surgery. I don't know. They put glue in you. I try to remember what I'm supposed to smell like, but I can't. I can only taste something strong and tangy. It's attached to the air inside of me. Glue? Yeah, I don't really understand what they did, but that's what the doctor said, something about glue. They put glue in me? I don't really get it, he says again. Why? I don't know, it helps your brain, something about the vessels. It's bloody weird. The boy airs his track out until the familiar scent returns. And after time, my new smell settles in. It seeps into my skin until it's part of me. Even the boy becomes so used to it. He claims it's beginning to fade. Whenever the boy tells people about the hospital, he stands at an invisible microphone, a cigarette crunched between his fingers. When the boy's stepfather visits the apartment, he takes a seat, listens with glee as the boy performs. His stepfather, wide-eyed and smirking, nods, leans forward as the boy weaves him in. I was sitting in the waiting room. It's getting so late. Mm-hmm. And then the nurses finally come around, tell me she's all right. So me and her mom go, we step at the end of the hallway and we wait for her. The boy's stepfather's cracked a beer, his eyes still on the boy. So we're waiting. Then all of a sudden, the elevator door opens. And before I even know it, sir, I smell this odor. Stepfather's snorting, stepfather struggling to swallow. What do you mean? The boy taps his knee. She reeks like burnt glue. I can smell her. I could smell her before I saw her, he says. The boy and stepfather are giddy. The boy looks at me and winks. Oh yeah, when she gets mad, you tell her not to get unglued. The boy's stepfather adds and takes another sip. Another sip. Another sip. I'm watching from my chair. Ghost is not pleased. She slouched down somewhere hidden, somewhere safe. Yeah, I'll be sure to use that one, the boy says with a smirk. Funny, huh? Unglued. Stepfather shakes his head. My lips shakily lift to display a row of teeth. Funny, I repeat. But now the boy's truck smells of him, and Ghost enjoys the scent because it's a vessel to where she belongs. She squeezes my heart and swims in each flavor, licks the musty oranges, reaches for another story, begins unearthing her unfinished dreams. You can drop me off before the hotel, I offer. Okay, I'll let you out here, the boy says. And he pulls over beside the statue of a man and a little girl and a real family taking photographs and eating ice cream. Thank you for the ride, I say, and step out onto the pavement. Ghost continues digging, her fingers looping around each story, stitching pieces from the boy's home and the warm spot on the sofa, his oceanic bedroom, his smell. She's lost in visions of the boy's truck rumbling down the street, over the pavement, past the tall buildings and furry trees and all the subdued colors against the faded sky. She can still only smell her new scent. His truck passes over the small concrete bridge and into the touristy part of the city. Dusk takes over, and all the statues and tourists eating ice cream are doused in gold. Thanks.
Thank you, that was gorgeous. So now, Chris is gonna walk around and collect our ghosts. Time for a quick question or two. So because I have some insider's intel on your writing process, I know that you started to set aside time every morning to write, and people who have gotten texts from Tara at like 5 in the morning also know that she sets time aside in the morning to write. When did you realize during those morning writing sessions that you were writing this story?
Okay, so this is difficult because it was not a simple linear process. I began writing it when all of the businesses shut down during the beginning of that we knew about COVID. And it began just as a process because I need to write to ground myself. And also with this story, it's been very personal and very private. And so I started writing it, and then it just became a personal project for myself. And I think draft 3, I was like, maybe this could like really go somewhere. And then I just kept going. But I wish it was like I didn't have any knowledge of what would come of it and how it would blossom. And I feel so incredibly fortunate and lucky and blessed. And I still haven't really looked at it from that point of view. I just did one step at a time.
Yeah, it was really remarkable to watch you just do it. Like, so at any point prior to the birth of this manuscript, did you think, oh, I have a memoir in me? Because you have a very remarkable story.
Mm-hmm. I honestly, it was just it was writing it out, point A to point B, and it was writing it for myself initially. Like when you read the memoir, you can see how murky it is, and I think that memories and personal history is somewhat murky for a person, but then you add in, a brain issue, and it becomes even more detached. And writing it out, point A to point B to point C, was just very, very beneficial for myself, and also I tapped into the creative process and began talking with the ghost, the woman I was before the stroke, and listened to her and to her story. And so it was incredibly beautiful and healing, and in a sense an apology, a farewell letter to her. And it was incredible for me in that process. Yeah. But it wasn't as simple as I'm writing a memoir now. Yeah.
So speaking of the kind of quality of memory, I don't have my copy with me, unfortunately. It was the one thing I forgot to bring today, but maybe I'll buy another one, which you can purchase over there after we're done talking, and Tara will sign after we're done talking. So on page 39, you say, the boy is truth because his memory is pristine, his mind is still his own. I know what you mean in the context of this scene, because the boy is serving a kind of fact-checking function. However, I think the book as a whole has a different take on memory and truth and objectivity. Do you think anyone's memory can be pristine?
Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. No. The way that, like, for example, this evening, the way that all of us are going to consume it and remember it, and then if we choose to talk about it to other people, it will be different. Every memory is different, and then the longer that time has passed, the specific things that stay bright in our minds, I mean, those are, again, they're so personal, as scents are so personal, and the way that memories and visions are just ingrained in us. So then what is truth? And who holds the correct memory? And you could go down a large path with that.
You wrote a whole book about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, I enjoyed this question. I wrote it. There's a moment early in the book that really made me giggle. So you're scared to get on an airplane, and Jude tries to reassure you by saying, it's a 1 in 6 million chance for a plane to crash. The odds are higher of being struck by lightning. And you ask, what are the chances of being struck by lightning? And they answer, slim. And this made me chuckle because this whole book is about your experience of an incredibly rare medical event. So my question is, do you find the odds of anything to be reassuring? Like when someone says, oh, the odds of happening that are super rare, do you go, oh, good? Or do you go like, well, let me tell you about slim chances?
Yeah, I don't buy into the whole slim chances thing. I don't at all anymore. Like, especially when I find out about the brain mutation that I have, an AVM, that it begins in my left thalamus and goes all the way down to my brain stem. And to have an ABM that's quite, ABM in general, first of all, they're really rare. And then to have it so large is rare. And then to have it, you know, residing in your brainstem as well is even more rare. So, yeah.
You're
No.
1 in a trillion, gal.
What I know, whatever. And then I think that there was something about like if you're female, it's even more rare. So I'm just like, oh, yeah, I hit all the odds.
Was there ever a point that you were like, I'm gonna go buy a lottery ticket?
No, definitely not. I don't believe in lottery tickets.
All right, so you had mentioned kind of something about the quality of memories and how they get murky or what brightens over time. I'm wondering if there is a difference in the quality of the memories you made before and the memories you've made after the stroke. And I don't mean quality like one is good and one is bad. I mean like do they have different like color palettes or vibes or expand upon that, please.
I'd say yes, because it's been about 9 years now, I think, and so much time has passed that one's brain and environment changes so drastically that the way that you perceive things and act in life are going to reflect that. But I will say, after my stroke, as mentioned in the book, yeah, the world 100% changed, and the way that I was viewing things, tasting things, it was completely new again. I was very obsessed for a while with trying to find the other woman. And like I told my partner at the time, I feel like a ghost. I feel like a ghost. Even the other character's ghost. But yeah, no, it was completely different.
Yeah, there's a really striking scene that I think happens more than once in the book where you're writing lists of what you like to eat as this new person post-stroke. I think is a very, very tight, neat moment that encapsulates what you're trying to capture with the fuller book really well.
Yeah, it's that luxury, like that you taking things for granted. You know what you like, you know who you are, and when that's completely gone, and the way that you are experiencing the things in life, like where there's no like emotional ties to them, like you know what they are, but there's no emotional ties to them. It's very strange.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by the way that you managed to capture in the book that sense of strangeness. I don't know how many people here have tried their hand at art, but it is actually very difficult to translate something that's visceral into metaphor. And the way that you've done that is so impressive. Just huge kudos to you. So I think now we are going to have a party, if that's all right. Please help yourself to samosas at the back of the table.
They're delicious.
Yes, there is a selfie station where you can write notes on the board and take selfies with the dried flowers. You can buy the book in this corner over here, and you can also corner Tara to sign that book for you if you would like. So thank you so much, Tara. Congratulations.